was established. In a statement, Hamas has said that its armed resistance is a non-negotiable unless an independent Palestinian state was established with Jerusalem as the capital. Truce talks between Hamas and Israel aimed at securing a ceasefire in Gaza has ended last week in a deadlock. Now we're joined by Ahmed Fattou. He's a spokesperson for the Fatah movement, joins us live from Ramallah. Thank you, Ahmed, for joining us again. Good to see you. Now, Hamas has emphasized that disarmament is conditional with clear conditions. So how do you view this stance in the context of Palestinian liberation and the broader struggle for self-determination?
Well, we have been very clear as the Palestinian National Liberation Movement and a member of the Palestinian Liberation Organization. This is a national demand that we unite our powers and we unite our geographical and political lands in one unit, one government, one authority, one law, one weapon, and one national agenda. Independent Palestinian agenda, not attached to any external agendas, only for the ambitions of the liberation and establishment of the sovereign and independent Palestinian state. The Arabs and the Palestinian Liberation Organization and government has stated clearly to Hamas that we want for them to submit their weapons to the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, to the legitimate government and the sole representative of the Palestinian people on all international arenas, and therefore to go into a political process that will end into an independent Palestinian state within a defined timeline. That was our demand to the international community. Hamas cannot continue to deal with this national issue unilaterally. It has to come back to the PLO, because we have the power and the influence and the international relations and the international obligations to bring Israel down to end its occupation. Hamas has to relinquish its power and for the Palestinian government, the legitimate Palestinian government, to go back to Palestine. This is a matter of a national demand. This is not a political dispute, and we have to be very clear here. Israel is investing on the Palestinian division, is investing on Hamas' existence in Gaza to advance their schemes to liquidate the Palestinian cause. We have to be very careful and we have to be very wise and smart to pull and withdraw all pretexts from the Israeli occupation to compel them into applying the international resolutions and to end their occupation according to UN Resolution 242, according to UN Resolution 338, and the last one, 2334. And according to the International Court of Justice, advisory opinion said that the Israeli occupation is illegal and must end within 1 year. As long as Hamas continue in that mentality, we are unable to advance forward. And we have to put Israel into its obligation. That can take place when we return back to power, and the Arab world has issued a guarantees that an international forces and we are calling for international forces to come and defend the Palestinian people from the Israeli occupation and aggression and their cruelty against the Palestinian people. This way, we are on a track into a political process that will end in the Palestinian independent state. We are very keen to achieve that. So their weapons, and let's say, be truthful here, they don't have massive weapons. It's light weapons. It's not a weapon that is going to repel or deter the Israeli occupation. And we have to be a little bit wise here, and Hamas need to understand that this will go to the Palestinian Authority. That is our goal, and if they work with us in that plan, we are going to force Israel to come down. The entire world is now seeing the horror of Israeli crimes and is in our side to stop this madness, because the world has discovered that this Israeli occupation care not about the international resolution, care not about humanitarian law, and they want to advance a colonial scheme. That is the plan to stop that forceful displacement scheme, and that the plans of the Israeli far-right government to exterminate and liquidate the Palestinian cause. Hamas need to be wise, and it's time for them to go back to the PLO, because PLO is the legitimate authority and the one who has the expertise and the power to face Israel in the international arena and force them to end their occupation.
And Ahmed, now looking at the bigger picture, with the truce talks between Hamas and Israel ending in a deadlock earlier last week, what do you think are the next steps for the Palestinian freedom movement in pursuing both peace and their rights on the international stage?
as we said, we have to unite under the PLO, the legitimate authority in the international community. The world needs to pressure Israel to respect and to fulfill its commitments to the covenants that we had together on Oslo Accords in 1993. For 32 years, Israel is running from the two-state solution, and they are putting forward every scheme to undermine the Palestinian state. That's why they have been investing on the division, and that's why Netanyahu has been sending funds to Hamas for the past 17 years in order to keep the Palestinian division and to undermine a Palestinian authority and the Palestinian legitimate liberation organization. We have to be wise here. If our aim is an independent Palestinian state, and that's the aim of all the Palestinian National Liberation Movement, Hamas need to come back and join hands with us, and we have to be wise here and to pull all pretext from the Israeli occupation, who is taking from Hamas as an excuse for all their crimes they are doing. Everything is regarded to them is justified because Hamas did, Hamas this, Hamas that. When Hamas realizes that they are an obstacle, as well as the Israeli occupation is an obstacle for the two-state solution, they have to step down and come back and call for the Palestinian Authority to come down, and that will be, a great punch to the Israeli occupation to retreat and to stop, because therefore we could face the United States of America, the impartial, the complicit United States of America, and tell them, here we are, the Palestinian people are united and saying that we want the two-state solution and have made our obligations. Now it's your turn to oblige Israel to respect these commitments for peace.
Yes. Ahmed Fattu, thank you very much for joining us today and sharing